If I had to pass a 100K FTMO account, this is exactly how I would do it. I've asked many people who have failed a FTMO 100K account before, and they all say they breached the max drawdown rule. Not because of some other rule, so I'm not going to go over some other rules like the news restriction or something like that. What I'm going to do is give you the exact risk management formula so you won't hit that max drawdown rule. And I've got different approaches for different strategies. So you have a high risk reward strategy for different win rates and all that. But what I want to go first is the approach you want to take. You can take the slow approach, the average approach, and the fast approach. So on the slow approach, you would risk 0.1% to 0.25%, and you could take about 40 to 100 losses in a row. I definitely would not recommend this unless you're really beginner in this strategy, like in trading, and if you really want to stay patient. This is more for people who make their first account, or they open a new big account, or they're just trying to be long-term playing safe. Now you got the average approach. You would risk 0.5% until you're up 2% and then risk 1%. And you could potentially take 20 losses in a row to lose the account if you have 10% drawdown like FTMO does. This is, it's a good, I recommend it. You have enough time and it's still safe. You're not trying to go too fast or too slow. You got steady growth. And then you can also take the fast approach. Okay, you would risk 1% to 2.5%. And you'd have to take about 5 to 10 losses in a row to lose the account. And potentially you can pass accounts really fast if you only take A+ setups and if you're a more experienced trader. Now, I've also have this cheat sheet here. I don't know how to say that word, but you can also take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to really explain it. You can already understand it as well. Let's say you go for 1 to 2 risk to reward. The minimum win rate you have to be profitable in this is probably 40%. So you can make a screenshot of this, but I'm not going to go over that. So I'm going to get into the next topic, which is risk to reward depending on your strategy. So if you take low risk to reward trades like 1-to-1 to 1-to-2, you can potentially pass your phase 1 in 5 to 10 trades, but you would have to have a minimum win rate of 60%. So let's say you have a 60% win rate. You would need to risk 0.5% per trade. You can get your win rate by backtesting or whatever, and then you can take your average win rate, and then let's say you got a 60% win rate by taking 1-to-1 to 1-to-2, you would have to risk 0.5% per trade. If you have an 80% win rate, then risk 1% per trade. So you got low risk reward needs more wins, so your risk can stay small. Now you got the medium risk reward. Let's say you took 1-to-2s to 1-to-4s. You can potentially pass your phase 1 in 1-to-4 trades. And if you have a 40% win rate, then risk 1% per trade. And if you have about 60% win rate, risk 2% per trade. So medium risk reward gives better reward per trade, so you can take slightly higher risk but not too much. Then you have the higher risk reward, which I personally do myself. I take high risk reward trades. You could potentially pass an account in 1-to-2 trades. Well, pass the phase 1 accounts and then pass the phase 2 accounts. So if you would have a 20% win rate, the risk you need to take is 0.5% per trade. And if you have a 40% win rate, the risk you need to take is 1% per trade. So higher risk reward trades has slightly less wins, but the risk reward is like crazy. So you can have large percentage because a single win can make you pass the account and can cover a lot of trades. Now I want to go into this formula. Okay, let me just delete this. I was explaining this in another video, but risk per trade formula. Okay, this is if you have a strict rule on how many trades you take per week. So for an example, let's say, okay, the average is let's say 3 trades per week. You can do this yourself, but an example is 3 trades per week. So what you would do is you would take 3 trades per week. You would times that by, let's say, 2. So that's 2 weeks. You divide that by the max drawdown, so 10%, and that equals okay, I got it here as well. That equals 1.7%. So what you do is 3 times 2, so the amount 3 times the amount of trades you take per week, and then 2 weeks, like number 2. So that means you would have to lose every single trade for 2 weeks straight to lose the account. If you take 3 trades per week and you have a max drawdown of 10%, you risk 1.7%. And if you take 6 losses in a row in 2 weeks, then you breach the account. And if you are a profitable trader, that literally just won't happen. And I also got the break-even win rate for the risk to reward. Now I won't actually explain this because this goes a little bit more in depth. So I actually just did the calculations myself. You can just make a screenshot of it. So let's say, for an example, you only go for a 1 to 4. The minimum, or like the break-even win rate, would be 20%. That's like, let's say you take 3 trades per week, you go for 1 to 10s. The minimum or the break-even win rate you need is 9%. Now, a good way to practice this if you're not ready for a big account, you know FTMO gives free trials. So what I would do, if you're just not that experienced, you can take 2 free trials using this risk management formula. You take 2 FTMO, whatever, 100K accounts. And if you pass both of them, then go for that big account. And I don't really want to go too complicated in this risk management formula. I think this is all you need, to be fair. Just don't like breach the other rules like news or anything like that. Just stay consistent, use this risk management, and if you are not profitable yet, just go on demo or use this free trial and then start practicing. So just don't jump into a big account and just think that, okay, I'm gonna take it steady, because that's literally what I did. I bought a big account. Like, I lost my first account, my 5K account, and I was like, you know, like, F it, bro, I'm gonna go for the big account, I'm gonna be safe. I did pass my phase 1, but then I failed my phase 2. So don't think you're all that, all right? If you don't have consistently profitable edge and you don't have proof of it, so just take the free trial and just practice and practice until you can pass 2 accounts in a row on FTMO. Not that you passed 1 account, you failed 5, and then you took another win. That's just luck, okay? You just want to consistently pass 2 accounts and then go to that live account. And if you have proof that you're profitable and you're good at psychology, don't go for the small account. I mean, what's the point going for the small account if you already have proof that you are profitable? Just go for the big account. And I've got nothing else to say than just stay consistent